Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hat Creek Homestead. Today, I'm gonna film me making supper. It is 107 degrees outside and it is super hot, so I'm not using my oven and I'm gonna have to use my stove a little bit, but I'm trying to cook where I don't heat up the house because it is blazing outside. So let's get to the kitchen and I'll show you what we're making today. To make these Mississippi meatballs, I'm going to use some pepperoni peppers, a packet of this au jus gravy mix, the Instant Pot Mississippi roast, but on the back there are instructions for the slow cooker. I'm going to loosely follow those. Beef broth, meatballs, make sure they're the family style or the home style, not the Italian ones, and then some Amish egg noodles. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to dump my meatballs in. And then I'm just going to sprinkle the Mississippi roast seasoning on top. And then we're going to open our au jus packet. I'm just going to cut the top with a pair of scissors. I'm going to do this one handed, so. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that on top as well. And because these are meatballs and not a roast, normally when I make this Mississippi mud roast with the seasoning packet, the roast will have its own juices, and that's why you don't put any water in it. The back of the package says not to add any water, to omit the water. There's the Instant Pot directions. It says add water, but with the slow cooker, you omit the water, and because it makes its own juices. But these meatballs probably aren't going to make that much juice, so we are going to add some beef broth to this, and so I'm just going to pour, we're going to start out with a cup of beef broth, because I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. We love meatballs and butter noodles, and I just thought, you know what, they love that Mississippi roast. Maybe this would maybe need another cup for some meatballs. I used the entire bag, and then I had probably 10 or 12 meatballs left over from, I made spaghetti and meatballs the other night from another bag, so I think two cups will be enough. And then we're gonna put these pepperoni peppers in there. And before, I had never put those in my roast. Sorry guys, I'm trying to open this jar with my arm and I'm moving all around. I had never put the pepperoni peppers in my Mississippi roast before, and I did this last time and it gave it a whole new flavor profile. So we're gonna dump some of that juice in there. And then I'm gonna dump out the rest of this, as much of this juice as I can, because I don't want to overdo it. But there's that many left in the bottom. I'm just going to put them in there. I'd say it's probably 1/4 of a jar or so. We may add a few more. I bought a new jar. Oops, and about 1/4 of a jar. So there was probably about halfway up to the label full of peppers, and I just dumped that and a little bit of juice in there. We're gonna crank this puppy on high, and we're gonna let it cook for about 2 hours, and I will bring y'all back when it's done. When these are done, I'm gonna make some brown gravy, and we'll cook these egg noodles. So I used 2 cups of this beef broth in my meatballs. When I make my noodles, I will, instead of boiling them in water, I'll probably boil them in the rest of this beef broth, and then if I need extra liquid, I'll add water to this. But I will start out so I don't waste this beef broth, because after you open it, in just a few days, it's not that great in the fridge. So whenever I'm making noodles, if I'm making a chicken dish, I use chicken broth. If I'm making like chicken pot pie, I'll use either chicken broth or chicken stock. or vegetable stock or vegetable broth with my rice and my noodles. It just gives it more flavor than water. and you don't have this hanging out in your fridge growing mold if you're like me. So I was too lazy to make noodles, so I got these. These are the next best thing to homemade. So these meatballs have been cooking about 2 hours. Gosh, I wish you could smell them. They smell so good. I took the lid off a couple times and stirred it. And so those look like they're about done. So I'm gonna start my taters for the mashed taters. I already put my carrots in my Instant Pot to steam them. I'll wear brown sugar glazed carrots. And you'll just have to ignore my sink. So I got my potatoes peeled and chopped and in the water, ready to boil. And I put my beef broth, which was 2 cups, and 2 cups of water in this pan. We're gonna bring this to a boil, and then we're gonna put our egg noodles in. Carrots are done. So I've decided this is not gonna be enough liquid, so I've opened a whole nother thing of beef broth, and I'm gonna pour most of it in there. Because it says 3.5 quarts of water or broth per pack, so I'm doing 2 packs. So that's 6 cups of beef broth and 2 cups of water. And if I need to, I can cut this with more water, but I didn't want to dilute the beef broth stock, I guess it's stock, not broth, anymore with water. Because I put it in there for the flavor, and if I dilute it with water, it's going to take the flavor away. Alright, now that my beef stock is up to a boil, we're going to add our noodles. And I hope they all fit in here. I only have this square copper pot and this big pot. I need to get a big stuffed pot. But I used to have a great big one. Between all of our moves, somehow I don't know where it has gone to. So I'm just going to pat these down. We got this stove that came with the house, and it's electric, and I hate it. I'm a gas stove person. One reason is because when you put something on a burner on a gas stove, it doesn't move. I guess it's because it's little cleats, but this one, it turns my pots all in circles, and I don't like it. But so we're going to put those in there and put the lid on it and bring those to a boil till they're tender. But I'm also going to turn on this fan, but I'll do that after I stop filming because it's super loud. But our taters are cooking, so when they get tender, I'll drain them and make mashed taters. I'll show you how to do that in my stand mixer. And then we're going to let these noodles cook. So I drained my carrots. I'm fixing to put them in the butter and brown sugar. So I took my taters and I put them in my Instant Pot to finish them off for 5 minutes. And then I put my noodles from this pan into this pan so they can finish cooking, since I only have one big pan. So now I'm going to make the brown sugar glaze that goes on the carrots. What I do is I just take a stick of butter and I put it in the microwave and melt it for like 30 seconds, and then then I'll show you the next step. I got my butter melted. I'm just going to put in some brown sugar, and then I'm just going to stir it. And I'm going to put this in the microwave for 30 seconds. So I just heated that up for about 30 seconds. You can do more if you want. But now I'm just going to take this and pour it over my carrots. And then we're just going to mix it up. And then I'll put it back in the microwave for a minute right before I serve it, because the carrots cool down pretty quick. But we're getting about done. The meatballs are done, the noodles are done, the carrots are done. Just waiting on my taters, and it looks like they've finished too. I have the taters out and drained, and then I'm gonna put this towel over the top because I don't have one of those fancy splash guard things. So I'm gonna mix these taters up. And like everything, I made too much, so I had to empty some out because I was making a huge mess. So this is about half. We're gonna start adding our sour cream and butter and our milk. So I'm just gonna eyeball this. I'm just gonna pour a little bit in there. Just to add my butter. And I'm using this garlic butter from Walmart. It just gives the potatoes a little kick. You can use regular butter. And then a lot of people don't do this, but I do, is always add a little squirt of sour cream. I'm gonna put this back in and let it mix up. So hope it don't slosh everywhere. So here are our meatballs all done. I'm gonna scoop them out, maybe, and put them in this bowl. I'm trying to get to all that juice down in the bottom. I'm going to show you how I make my gravy when I make ham or meatballs, or when I make my Mississippi mud roast, how I make the gravy to go on the taters. And I haven't always done it this way, but the former preacher's wife at our other church made ham gravy this way, and it was way better than my ham gravy, sadly to admit that, but we fixed that. Get all these meatballs out. And then I'm going to pour the sauce into my saucepan. Okay, so I got all that juice out, but don't worry, it doesn't look like it's much, but we're going to make it. So the way that I stretch this and make the best gravy you've ever had is you take 1 cup of cold water. 1 cup of cold water. Then you're going to take 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. You just have to ignore my dirty dishes in my sink. Sorry it's so shaky, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Get you 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And then you just mix it together. Make sure it mixes well. And make sure that cornstarch is completely dissolved. And set that over to the side. What you're going to do is get you a packet of brown gravy mix. And you're going to follow the directions just like it says. You're going to put in 1 cup of water. And your brown gravy mix. Then you're just going to stir that brown gravy mix is mostly dissolved in there. And then you're just going to cook this like the back of the package on the gravy packet says. We're going to turn ours on high. I'm just going to let it come to a rolling boil. So our gravy is coming to a good boil. And I'm just going to add part of this because I didn't have a whole lot of that other gravy mixture or the juice left over. This is just meant to thicken it up a little bit. So I like a nice thick gravy. Not lumpy, but thick. I don't want no runny gravy. And it looks like our gravy is just about done. So let me plate this up and show you what it all looks like. Well, as I was editing, I noticed I never did finish the end of that video. So supper tonight was really, really good. It was a hit. Everyone liked it. And we'll definitely be adding this to our list of recipes that I'll be making again. Please let me know if you like this type of video. And leave some comments down below of any recipes you may have with meatballs. So far, I just make them this way. And either meatball subs or spaghetti and meatballs. So leave all your meatball recipes down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.